Hello, pandas and other rascals, and welcome to Scrap Extravaganza Volume 2, where we clear out all of this scrap metal that has been piling up in my garage. Holy cow. It's getting cold, and I do not want this place to look like this throughout the whole winter. It's got to be better. We've got to do better. And we're about to do better. So if you want to see how that goes down and how much money we make, well, you're in the right place. Let's go. First off, this right here is a truck full of scrap metal from the last estate sale. Some pieces we may keep and try to sell not as scrap, but for the most part, I think it's not savable. Now, I had this fantasy about scrapping it as I removed it from the truck, but I don't think that's going to happen. So we got some space in here. We're just going to have to pull it, dump it, and then scrap it on the floor. Let's go. Now, the first thing was that stainless steel tape. Pretty good weight in stainless, I gotta say. Was kind of a shame to tear it down and more or less destroy it, but it just wasn't realistic for me to try and move the entire thing and keep it. But I didn't destroy everything. Huh? This is the first treasure. I decided it was reasonable to save the top. So I wasn't expecting anything great underneath it, but it turned out it's not only this long sheet of stainless that I could use as a work table, but this big, solid 1.5 inch block tabletop. This one I'm pretty excited about. It's a bit of a big, dumb, heavy thing to save, but I couldn't let it go. Yes, it does have 2 big holes cut in it, but I'm unbothered. Next pieces are these chunks of lead. Quite a bit of that, actually. Very, very heavy. Wires, some clamps. One of my favorite pans. Transformers. Those are definitely worth separating. This big aluminum pan. They wouldn't give me a good price. It's worth about $60 if it's clean, but only about just shy of 20 for the price that they would give me, so I got to take the bits of steel out of it. Yeah. Really want is that out, because I can't really drive. I got to get it out. Yeah. That's heavy. I can't get this out while this stuff is in it. Well, better get started on that. First off, I'm taking this inside. Now, to start by making some space, I kind of just want to bring in a load of steel. Might seem kind of silly. I have reasons. Okay, lots of trial and error, but I think I figured out the easiest way to get the motors out of this. Wires, free the arms, cut off all the bolt heads, cut through whatever sort of jump ring is holding the shaft on, and then I got that part. Yeah, I think that's the best way. This isn't a particularly good or well-packed load of steel, but I just needed to get my truck back, and that's a pretty easy problem to solve. So that's what we're going to do. Now, I know if it was me watching, one of the things I'd be looking forward to is seeing the treasures and things that we saved and decided not to scrap from the last couple estate sales. So, to start with, let's look at this. This is an electric smoker. Pretty cool little dealio, got everything you need. even though it's stainless steel and it would make good scrap, I'm not going to scrap it. I'm probably going to give it as a gift to one of my brothers, but in the meantime, I'm going to get it out of here. That'll do. That one came from the first one. While we're in here, I can also show you this. So the label and buttons say this is a Kula, but it's a Australian oilskin coat. Brand new with tags, just needs the oil and dust wiped off of it. That one's actually a little bit sad because the old man and his wife went to, that was their last trip together. They went to Australia and had such an amazing time. They couldn't wait to go back, and they bought a pair of those coats and never got to use them. So I'm not going to use it either. But the fella running that liquidation wouldn't let me give him a portion of the scrap money. So instead, I just bought that for more than it was worth to me. And that was kind of my cheeky way of paying him. But I should be able to sell it for what I paid for it anyway. And another thing from that one, this. It's some kind of a fence thing. I honestly have no idea what it was made for. But it's all made out of aluminum and copper tubes. I'm trying to tell you, lefty loosey. Ooh, those are... Oh no. Maybe it just needs some persuasion. Wow! So after much fiddling, we got it down to 2 aluminum bars and a good stack of really thick-walled copper pipes. I went the easy route. They just were not cooperating with hand tools, so I chopped them out, and then I chopped the ends that had the tips of the bolts in them off as well. Didn't really lose a lot of clean copper weight, and it was way more time efficient. It feels like now is a perfectly fine time to start loading something into the back there, because we're not picking anything up until this stuff is gone. So, there's the stainless steel. That's pretty big. It's going to have to go in the first one. I should cut those larger pieces down, because they're probably going to ding me for oversized, but it's not usually that bad, and normally I absolutely would. If you have the time, definitely do. Right now, I don't have the time. I need the space. The next thing I think is going to be cast aluminum and compressors. So, cast aluminum. These things here, aren't those neat? Actually, I'm not sure if those are aluminum or stainless steel. Wow. Those are stainless. Those are good pieces of stainless. Well, I thought about saving them and selling them on eBay, but it's just... Ooh. I think those are 316, because they are magnetic and they are not particularly rusty. There's something. Anyway, they're going to have to go into the stainless bin. I thought they were cast aluminum. I was going to try and sell them, but I'm not, because they're all chewed to heck. There's big chunks out of them, and I can't find a model number, and yada, yada, yada. They're also, like, the edges here are way too thick. And I was looking at new ones online, and they're much thinner than that. I think these ones were used for quite a long time, and then removed and replaced. I'm actually going to keep 1 or 2 of these, because I think they're really cool, and they would look really cool on the wall. What's next? Oh, these parts. I am going to try and take these apart. Again, I thought about eBay, but they're in very poor shape. They've really been abused. I think they were replaced, and those are leftover parts that someone was thinking maybe they could use for a different project where they, you know, would like one that still functions, just not optimally. They're scrap for us. Turbos, however, I think I'm going to try and sell those because they're worth good money and they're not seized. So, unfortunately, yeah, can't just scrap everything. Well, I could, but that'd be silly. This piece is already clean, so in it goes. This piece, and this piece. Let's start with the little one. Nothing magnetic. Nice bits of stainless steel, and then these things wants to move, but it doesn't want to move that direction. There we are. Stainless aluminum. Then this one, I know this up here is brass. Fairly cooperative. Bit of brass. This should come off easy. Yep. Stainless, but it's not really worth fighting over to get that out. Okay. Stainless. This part could be interesting. This thing here. This is not metal. I say we're good to go with some nice pieces of cast aluminum. Ooh. Now this bit looks interesting. This is a jet pump. As in from a jet pump boat. It's a little too big for a Sea-Doo. Gross. Oh, there it is. Pipe wrench for the win. These are like rubber or nylon. That's something different. Well, now we're in an interesting predicament. We got a cast aluminum body and some aluminum parts on a stainless steel drive shaft. I'm going to poke around and see if I can figure this out. I hope we don't have to bring it in dirty, because otherwise this is kind of a waste of time. But, let you know what I find. Oh, no. Wait. There's two of them. This is threaded. Well, how's that for making things much harder than they needed to be? Ah. Perfect. Cast aluminum, prepared steel, stainless steel. We're good. Now these two are just larger versions of the same thing. I started in on this one, and regretfully I'm just going to take them in the way they are, because the amount of time they're going to take to clean these apart, there's so many bolts, they're all seized on there really good. It would be fun, I would make more money, but I really don't think those pieces are going to come out of there easily. I think it's going to take a lot of time to extract them, and I'm not up for it. Now, I want to clean up those. Yep. Nice. Now, this is a good looking motor that honestly I could probably just smash with a hammer. Easy. And this is probably, yeah, that's a steel one. Decent bit of wire. Oh, come on, you. Ugh. that'll just have to be good enough. Perfect. Now we've got these. There we are. Aluminum gearbox, we're going to call it breakage, and a motor. Now this one, I'm kind of curious about. We could spend the time removing these. Or we could do things the easy way. I love scrapping the easy way. What? Cool beans. Kind of seems like it's a motor with an alternator stuck on it. I don't know. It's going in the motor pile. That's, I'm just going to fiddle with that on my own time. Now this pump, I am interested in. Might take a minute to get into, because it's all assembled with these Allen keys. Got all visible screws removed. Don't know what engineering genius designed this, but they decided not one, not two, but 5 different sizes of Allen key heads was the appropriate number to assemble this with. But it looks like it's going to be mostly aluminum. Another one of these, huh? Okay. Alright, see these? I know it's not going to focus very well, but very difficult to release. I'm just going to call it breakage, because it's asking for a great deal of effort to remove it, and I don't think it's worth it. So instead, we're going to get this filled up, take it in, make a bunch of money before we continue, because I don't think I'm going to get absolutely everything in here, and there's no need to.
Installation.
Not a bad heap. No, it isn't completely full, but we're not going to get everything in there in one load anyway, so it's okay. Now, one more thing I'd like to throw in there. The kitchen sink. Sometimes it gets a bit magnetic around here because of the way it's like pressed, and that changes the crystal structure. There we are. Sometimes they don't care about this stuff, but I just want to make it easy for them to give me the clean price. There. Nice, clean piece of stainless steel. Now let's go make some money. Geez, that doesn't look too bad, does it? We're gonna have to do all the stainless steel in a second bin. Better than expected. There were some boys here with a bunch of really thick iron pipes, steel pipes, just regular ferrous, and they thought I worked here for a little while. They only give 2 cents a pound here for steel. And that's not because they're trying to rip people off, it's just because they don't have space for a steel yard. So I told them go down to Recon, because that was definitely prepared steel. And like 500 pounds, what was that? I feel like they'll probably be disappointed. Steel is kind of a grind. But we did better than expected. We'll go through the numbers when we get back. But extruded aluminum, it's a great time to sell extruded aluminum. It's $1.35 a pound here. So that was pretty good. I had a couple pieces of higher grade stainless, but it wasn't really worth the extra lines to fiddle with. So he just threw it all together and didn't ding me for the oversized. So that was pretty good. I gotta get some food and let's get back to work. Okay, feeling pretty good about that. Can't wait to share the numbers with you guys, but we're saving that till the very end. For the second load, we're gonna kind of sort of focus on copper and brass. There are a couple more things to pick through. Let's start with this. These ones here. Now I've already tested this piece. These are aluminum cases, but they do have steel screws holding them together. That's those, but I'm also interested in these little nubbins. I'm pretty sure those are all brass. Strangely, no. I guess they're just aluminum. Boop. Now... Change desiccant if pink. I don't know if you can see, but those are definitely pink. I think we need to examine the item. These luxurious vintage cards. Look at that little nubbin. There's going to be like a bunch of gold inside there. Unfortunately, I can't just turn these into scrap. I mean, I could, but my friend Batiste saw these in the video at the estate sale, and he really wants these chips. I'm not surprised. I don't know what they would do, but he actually plans on putting them to use in their current form, so that would be wild, and I'd love to see what he does with them. These things are full of gold pins as well. Those will be some nice gold pins, I'm sure. Chunk of copper running down that way for some reason. I need to get some gold testing solution, but I'm pretty confident that's what that is. But that's not going to make me any money today. So, out of this total, this inside plate, that's just a piece of steel. So an aluminum case, some really high quality pins for gold recovery, and a little bit of wire, a little bit of dirty brass, and those boards, which I'm not keeping. And a decent pile of aluminum out of that thing too, actually. Yeah, that's the exact same thing, just with more boards, which is kind of cool. Kind of running out of workspace here, so I'll get this cleaned up. I'm not actually going to save these. I know they've got gold pins in them, but am I actually going to extract them? No. I've done that before. I don't care to do it again. Stainless steel. Well, the next one is this. Whoa, nice. Look at that one. I was not expecting an aluminum canister. That's pretty cool. Eek! I need the hammer for this. Good piggy. Some kind of water heater. I feel like there should be something cool I could do with it, but I'm gonna scrap it. Now, for the people who are interested in e-waste, this can of dust and these. You've got these little bits of cast aluminum. They're probably a zinc alloy, and I'm not sure what they are. They're not threaded, but I think maybe because this one's got adhesive on it, maybe they're for putting on a lathe. This is just adhesive rubber material. That's for some decent pieces of wire. Also a fun surprise. So I'm just going to quickly go through and separate stuff and see how much we've got. Well, that's quite a bit of RAM. Not e-waste bin levels by a long shot, but still a pretty good looking stack. Probably 4 to 5 times what I had at this point already. Some of these are really cool too. Starting to try and make them look cool on purpose. These ones might be actual copper, but probably copper plated aluminum. What am I going to do with them? I don't know. I imagine my computer guy is probably going to see this and want to poke through them and see if there's anything he needs. But yeah, just add them to the stash and sell them someday for gold content, I guess. Not too many processors, but a few. And now I think I found a use for the lid for one of those thingies. I considered filling this with water and sort of water separating all of the floating bits of leaves and such, but I think it'll just be faster to hand separate them. Plus the pieces I'm looking for are bright yellow. Pretty good. Got a decent little pile of tantalum capacitors here, and a couple MLCCs. Now the last thing, going through the copper and brass. This shouldn't be too bad. That one's gonna have to be number 2. Good piece of stuff's number 2. That one's number 1. This is gonna take some time, and I actually have more of it. Another bin full. So, we're gonna do it fast. And there it is, all nice and cleaned up, in a manner of speaking. Some really beautiful pieces here, as is normal with brass. The piece these came off of was really cool. I would love to have installed it somewhere, but that was cool too. That piece, yeah, I can only imagine how much that was worth. All of it, solid brass construction, like an $800 faucet. This thing, look at the size of that, eh? All brass. Just wow. I'm gonna get this all sorted out and we'll catch up in the morning. And we're back. Good morning. Bit of a long night actually, picking through and sorting all that stuff, but what we have now is a beautiful selection. You'll notice I've got the brass separated into more types than usual. More on that later. But this is the one we've been waiting for, the big copper and brass load. Let's get this loaded up and sell some metal. Well, that is one beautiful looking load of scrap. Yes! We're going a little off script today. We're going a little off script today. And by that I mean, we're actually gonna go to a different scrapyard. Remember how I said a little while back that Federal Metals was killing it at the brass prices? Yes. Well, that's what we're gonna do. We've loaded everything up. We're gonna go see how we do. Now, I did call ahead, and it does sound like that's still true. But remember, we could still get got. It's not all about the prices. They may downgrade the heck out of everything that we've got, and everything that we think is number one is actually number two. Everything we think is clean is actually going in as dirty. You never know. So this is still a bit of an experiment. We're gonna see. Is it as good as it sounds? Or is it all a ruse? Up and around in there. This place is nice.
Yeah, all good.
Thank you.
Yeah, the office is ready for you.
Wow. That was great. That was just great. They're fast. The place is clean. They're super helpful. I love the facility. They did grade the mixed bin of wire as number 2, and they gave me all the grades I was expecting for the brass. So let's go home and talk about how we did. This is pretty good. This is a really good. Let's go home. We'll compare. Oh, we're back. What a saga. So I have done the math. I'm just going to put the receipts on the screen for anybody who wants to go through it in detail. But this is kind of interesting. I'm not going to be too long-winded because unless you live in the same city as me, this isn't going to be immediately relevant to you, but I think the lessons are still valuable. So basically, the place I usually go to, Empire, was $275 on brass, and if we assume they were going to do the same thing they did last time, which is just throw it all together in one heap, save for the dirty brass, I would have gotten $275 a pound for everything, whereas Federal, the place that we tried out today, had a variety of prices that all seemed better than that. So $3.10 for yellow brass, $3.48 for red brass. I thought it was going to make a huge difference, but running the numbers here, on my 124 pounds of brass, 26 of which was dirty brass, I only would have gotten $10 more at the place that I went to. And then the copper, this new place also has a better price on copper, but only about 10 cents a pound, so I made an extra $10 on copper, total of making an extra $20 for going somewhere that's further and I don't already have a relationship with. However, this new place is weaker on aluminum. They gave me mixed old aluminum for that bin that I brought in that had the big, keg-shaped thing. 41 pounds of that at 65 cents a pound. I think they're also weaker on their number 2 insulated wire. So I might have even lost money. Probably not by much, but basically I broke even here. So yes, Federal does have a better price for copper and brass, but by very little. And their other prices, well, you see where they're making their money. it's funny, those tiny differences are really just 6 of one, half dozen of another. I think I'm just going to keep going to the one that I like. Although I did notice that Recon is definitely better on motors and sealed units. About twice as much on sealed units. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to change. But it's nice to have checked it out, and now I know. So a grand total for these 2 runs, I think this is the best run. This is a new record for the best run I've ever done, if we combine them together and call it one. That was 588 pounds for $1,537.60. Yeah, wow. Scrap's not bad right now. Great time to bring in your extruded aluminum. I said that already. There's one more thing I wanted to do. One more piece I wanted to pick through, and I was looking forward to sharing it. And that is these transformers right here. I've got 4 really big ones. Little piece of aluminum there. And we're bringing out the big guns. All right, we got it. That'll work better. Project Shop Florida is the man when it comes to these things. He's got a table specifically for breaking open transformers and a giant hydraulic wedge that just splits them. It's really impressive. I think this should work all right for us for right now. There. Lump of steel, a lump of copper. That looks pretty good. We can clean that up more later if we want to. This one here is one of the ones that we found while we were out on an adventure. The difference with this one is somebody threw it in a fire and melted all of the adhesive and plastic bits off. I have a strong suspicion that's the kind of stuff nobody should be breathing in. Well, we're gonna get some air moving through here. I guess that means it's respirator time. Beware of that if you ever run into some transformers. They might be old. They might be full of asbestos. So real quick, testing it now. I do not think it's asbestos. Hey, real quick add-ins that I thought of late. I like using the angle grinder in lieu of a huge splitter setup to do just this, because that would be great. But obviously the respirator's a must, because even if that isn't asbestos, it's fiberglass, and that is pretty much just as bad for your lungs. So yeah, respirator. Definitely going to wear that a lot more often. There's a lot of copper dust here as well. So I saw Big Stack D had a Tupperware bin full of all of his copper dust, and it wasn't that hard to separate the non-copper and clean it pretty good and melt it down into a brick. So clean surface area to work with, so you can sweep it all up after. I think there's a non-zero amount to collect there. And finally, the burning. I see why it's done. It definitely makes it easier to like pull the copper wires out afterwards with all of that paper and adhesive gone. But that's going to take extra time. I don't think it really... I think it still takes less time to just chop through them like this and hammer them out, as long as you have a decent set of punches to use. Yeah, it makes it a little bit easier, but that would take a while to burn them like that. It's obviously not as bad as melting all of the insulation off wires, so like I'm not going to hold it against anyone. I might even do it if I find myself struggling against one of these, but I don't think it's a significant savings in time. Now, that part notwithstanding, this has been a lot of fun. So thanks for hanging out and making it more fun by being here. I didn't realize there were quite so many of you that would be interested in a general scrapping afternoon. Although the payout definitely makes it pretty extra fun. The other fun part is sorting through and making this mess a little more sensible, a little more usable space. I've got a better system in mind, and I think that'll be great. You may notice the wheels and batteries are still here. They'll be going in a different load, but I'll be sure to share that. Maybe subscribe to make sure you don't miss it, though. Click the like button if you enjoyed this one. We got lots more coming, including, well, probably some dumpster diving and some treasure hunting as soon as we've got the space back. I can't wait. I look forward to seeing you there. So thanks for leaving it better than you found it. Keep doing the thing.